Good morning and sorry, good afternoon. It's 1 o'clock. Good afternoon and welcome to Bull Markets Talk Show. This is your host Rian Option, and we're doing actually the very important OPEC meeting today. It's actually like deja vu of last year between the Russians and the Saudis, where they discussed about the oil supply and all of those things, and COVID-19 that was hitting, and the lockdown regulations. And today it is about OPEC again and the UAE. There's actually discussions about the oil supply. Now, there's some serious problems here. Look, under the lockdown regulation, the economies of global economy was hot and cold. So a lot of oil producers actually slashed a lot of oil supply last year as they agreed on. And then there was agreement that they will supply oil steadily again. And so that was the agreement now in April that they will now push the oil supply steady again so that they know what is demand of the world, and they can see it, and then they pump the oil. Now there is estimation about the oil supply that is in shortfall, and they need to put more oil on stream. Now this comes from the UAE, and also OPEC actually was actually doing this the last time where they put out their forecast, and this was actually by Reuters done. I will just share it with you, and then I will actually let you see of the shortfall of what they're talking about. Now, the shortfall, yeah, is as following. This is now the global oil supply deficit in 2021. You see, the first quarter there was a 280 deficit, and then you have in August, and then you have a 1.4, and then it goes to 2.2 million shortfall. Now, this is the shortfall that OPEC projects what is going to happen now this year. Now, this is now the other problem, where you have the US crude oils that don't come on stream. Now, if you follow I would say the news, especially on US inventories, you will see this every time there is a shortfall. There's the big deficits there that's running every week. And this is becoming now a huge problem because it means that there's a shortage in supply of oil. And that's why the oil prices are actually going up. So the UAE is actually pushing out that they need to supply more oil. And the Saudis are saying, no, just stay as it is and let the oil be slowly be putting back in demand. That is one thing that this the previous podcast that I have on oil is where they agree that they will steadily increase the oil supply. You can just go to my previous podcast on my Facebook page, and also please do register on my LinkedIn. My YouTube page, and then you will get all my podcasts there in previous ones of OPEC. But the thing is now, with the new variant that comes in, and they are not sure about the lockdowns and all of those things. So I agree with OPEC is to stick to the initial agreement by just having the oil as normal. Let it just be as normal. Because if you now increase supply and then they say, oh, the Delta variant comes in, and then you need to slash oil supply again. So it's like a hot and cold, and they are not sure about the global regulations when it comes to this craziness of the new variant. But the UAE is saying, listen, yeah, but you guys project there's a shortfall, there's a blistering demand now for oil, and oil was jumping up from 91 barrels where it was last year. Now it's sitting on 97 barrels. That is what the global economy is actually doing per day. So now they need to add more because it's sitting now at 95. Now, pre-pandemic, it was sitting at about 100 million barrels to the day. Now it's sitting at about 97. It's still a far away, but I mean, it is ticking up quite fast. So the UAE is like, hey, can we pump more oil out? So there is a bit of a rift between these two big powers, which is the UAE and Saudi Arabia, and also the other OPEC members. In the long run, now this is now another story. In the long run, especially in the United States, normally when oil prices go up, then the US sale is coming quickly on stream. They just switch on and there it goes. And there the oil, they pump more oil production is up. For this last few months, oil production in the United States did not increase, as I actually was just showing you that graph. It did not increase at all because there is doubts, obviously, with the Keystone Pipeline where they cut, and there's lack of investments when it comes to oil because everybody's talking about this green, green, green story. So there's a lack of investments that go in now into these oil fields. And even in South Africa, these guys are also not investing in like an engine, for example, Petro SA and all of them. They are not reinvesting. They're all moving to the green story. Now, there's an article that was wrote, and this is what I picked up yesterday. I'm just going to share it again with you. This article was done by Total, where Total was warning that about 10 million barrels of oil supply shortfall by 2025. Now, when I read this article and I looked at what is currently happening in the world, where everybody's talking about a greener energy, it looks like cars is going to change overnight and we all going to use electric cars, or planes is going to change and everybody, I don't know, the plane is maybe going to work with wind energy or something, I don't know. But you can't change the, excuse me, the infrastructure so quickly. It takes time. So this is what Total was warning, and this was on the 9th of February 2021, that listen here, there will be a shortfall of oil, and it will be on it will be around 2025. And this year already we experienced a shortfall. But there's also this whole story of last year where oil prices were crashing basically. What was that? Zero, negative numbers. Excuse me. It was going to negative numbers, and that is actually what pushing investors away. And that's why they are sitting on the fence. And also now with this green whole story, green, 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 people are not investing in oil or actually expanding their production. So this is not good at all for the long run. And this is definitely not good for now. Now, there's three scenarios that you need to look at for today, and which is of extreme importance. The main thing is that that you need to look at is scenario one. I'm just actually going to get this. Yeah. If there's a deal, or let's say there's no deal, let's start there first. This is now for today, and please, you need to look at this. If there's a deal, or let's start with no deal, then oil price is going to shoot through the roof, because then it means they're going to go to the old deal, and then oil prices will spike, and definitely we'll see $80, 85, like that. It can go easily to 100 if there's no deal. Please listen carefully. If there's no deal, because then it means they're going to go to the initial agreement. And of course, as I just mentioned, there's a shortage of oil. If there comes sort of an agreement between the UAE and other OPEC members that they will steadily increase it again with about 500 barrels or about 600 barrels per day, then oil price will steadily go up. Nothing is going to happen. Last scenario that I have, if there's no deal between the UAE and the other OPEC members, and the UAE is going home and say, listen here, to hell with this OPEC members, I'm going to pump oil regardless, I'm going to increase it, then oil price is going to crash. Because then it means it will be free for all, everybody must pump how much he wants. Then oil price is going to crash. So those three scenarios, that is what I will look at today. So the best thing for you, if you don't open up trades, I would say sit on the fence. Because if you have the story of one, there's no deal, oil price is going to shoot. Listen here, that price is going to jump up. You will also have other commodities going up. Gold will go up and all of those things. If there is a deal, some sort, oil price will still go up, but not so sharply. But if there's no deal and the UAE do it everything on its own, then you must know oil price is going to fall. And also that will drag down other commodities as well. So please be careful for today. If you don't have trades open, that's fine. Please don't do it. But if you are brave enough and you say there's a no deal, which I think there will be no deal. I think there will be no deal. There will be bitterness maybe, but I think there will be a no deal. And that will shoot up oil prices, and it will shoot up quite aggressively. And then later on, that will be our problem at the pumps. That is what I expect. So that is it from my side. Please look out for the oil for the OPEC meeting today. It's very important. You can make your money if you're in the market, but I think definitely there will be a no deal scenario. That's it from my side. I hope you guys enjoyed today's show. Don't forget to subscribe on the YouTube channel, and then I will see you guys tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Bye bye.